Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about what your ex feels when you stop looking for them. So with your ex, you're either dealing with someone who is completely over you, or you're dealing with someone who still has feelings for you, right? Most people are in that situation. It's either an ex that still cares or they've got an ex that doesn't care. So when you stop looking and stop texting and messaging an ex that no longer has feelings for you, what you'll find is that you'll just never hear from them again, okay? When you've stopped pursuing them, and basically everything just fizzles out. So that's what you're going to experience for those kinds of people that are dealing with an ex that doesn't care about them. But if you've got an ex that still does have feelings for you and still does care about you, they're going to get curious about you because maybe you'd been messaging them in the past, maybe you've been trying to get back together with them, and now all of a sudden you're not doing that, okay? And if they care about you and still love you and still have some feelings for you, they're going to start to fear losing you and fear that you're never coming back, and therefore they will get curious about you and may reach out to you. So for me, I had an experience, and a lot of you may have already heard this story, but I'll go into it again for any new viewers on this channel, and that is, I had an ex that did come back into my life, or tried to get back into my life, 9 years ago. And basically we had seen, it wasn't a very long-term thing, but we'd been seeing each other for like about 3 months. And what happened was, when we broke up, she unfriended me on Facebook. I'm pretty sure it was her that unfriended me. And then after about 3 weeks after the breakup, she re-added me again. And then nothing happened for a few days. I accepted the friend request. And because I was at that stage where I didn't really care that much about what was going to happen. And also, I just thought that she wanted to stalk me. And I was like, fine, if you want to stalk me, then and cope and just see that the posts I'm making or whatever it may be, fine, you're welcome to do that. So I accepted it. And that's basically one of the ways that your ex may come back if they still have feelings for you, especially if they've unfriended you or you're no longer friends on social media for whatever reason or following each other. If they want to test the waters, what they'll do is they'll just do something small and insignificant first, like re-adding you on something, okay? And then after a few days, or maybe it's a bit longer, I'm just going from my experience, but once they've sent the request and you've accepted it, that makes them a little bit more brave because you've accepted it. So what happens then is they test the waters even more by reaching out to you and messaging you. They sort of slowly creep back in. It may not be like an instant sort of like, here I am, I'm back again, do you still love me? Do you want to, they may not just directly say, I miss you, or I want to get back together, I want to rekindle things. They'll send out these little they'll be testing the waters gently first to see what's happening. So if you get a friend request from your ex and you weren't friends, you'd not added each other, you'd unfriended each other, and then so all of a sudden they send you a request or something like that, that's a huge sign. Something else that may happen as well is that they may send a friend to come and talk to you. So, for example, maybe their friend reaches out to you and asks how you're doing since the breakup. And basically what this friend is doing is they're fishing for information that they're going to relay back to your ex, okay? Which is very sneaky, but it's just one of those things. So if you notice that your ex's friends are trying to contact you and they're asking about your life and they're asking like personal details, like, are you seeing anyone? It could be that it's your ex in disguise, or they've sent, because maybe it is your ex actually messaging you, but just using their friend's account or something like that. Or it could be their friend and they're just fishing for that information that they're going to screenshot and send to your ex. So it's these little subtle things that you got to notice first. They'll come back subtly. They may not come back into your life like a roaring flame, whatever. So that's basically what you'll see. You'll see either they'll come back and they'll be more curious about you and they'll slowly drift back into your life, or you'll just never hear from them again if it's an ex that doesn't love you or care about you anymore, okay? Of course, there are obviously other situations where you've got an ex who you have kids with, or you've got other things that you need to arrange, like, and perhaps like divorces. So you may still have to be in contact somewhat with your ex. And what I would say to those people, like if you work with your ex, or if you have to deal with different situations with your ex, like mortgages, divorce, kids, always speak to them in a business-like manner, never an emotional manner. So get down to it. Like if you have to speak to your ex, literally only talk to them about the thing that needs addressing, and that's it. No more like, hey, how are you? What you been up to? Sort of thing. Okay. You want to treat it like a complete business interaction. Very cut and dry. Okay, so for example, if you've got a kid and you need them to pick Timmy up from football practice, you got to say, hey, can you pick Timmy up from football practice at 5 p.m.? So you're keeping it like that. If you work with them and for whatever reason you have to speak to your ex, let's say your boss wants you to send them some papers over, then that's what you do. You send the papers over. That you don't do any more than that. Treat it very business-like, cut and dry, very, very serious, actually. There's no emotion there. You don't, because when you involve emotion, like, hey, how are you? What you been up to? Tell me what's going on. You seen it? You know, it's making it more of an emotional pally thing, and you don't want it to be anything like that. You want it to be business-like and serious. Okay, keep it like that. And robotic as well. You don't want there to be any kind of emotion. If you want to see the emotion start to come from them, not from you. Okay, so when they start inquiring about you, right, and they're like, hey, how are you, what have you been up to, and there's no ulterior motive because they want you to pick up the kids or they need something from the boss if you work together, and they're just solely inquiring about you, that's more of a positive sign that they're trying to come back into your life. But if they're asking how you are, but in the same sentence or in a couple of messages afterwards, they're asking you to do something for them, or they're asking for a favor, or they're asking for you to do something specifically related to the kids or work, whatever it may be, depending on where you are in your life right now and how you know your ex, then that's not a good sign because they've got an ulterior motive. They're just being polite by saying, hey, how are you first? What have you been up to? But if it's just about you, they're just solely asking about you, because that's how I knew that my ex was interested in getting back with me, because she was just simply asking about how I was doing, what I was up to, and she was just interested in my life in general. She had no ulterior motive. She had no things that she wanted to collect from my place or vice versa. It wasn't about that, right? She just wanted to know about me. She had no ulterior motives other than to try and get back with me. So that's what you'll probably see as well. So another thing to keep in mind as well is when you're dealing with an ex that you've maybe made a few mistakes with. So for example, let's say you begged and pleaded. Perhaps you've been posting on social media about how horrible your life has been and you've made it public so they can see it. Basically, when you stop doing those things, you stop messaging them, you stop posting about them, and you're no longer giving them that attention anymore. Basically, when you stop doing that, it may deflate their ego a bit. And what I mean by that is that perhaps they assumed that you would always be still in love with them. Perhaps they assumed that you would always be chasing after them and trying to get back with them, and you would always be just absolutely cut up about the breakup. And when you display through your actions that you're not doing that, by inaction, by not talking to them, and perhaps you're posting on social media really positive things about things that you're achieving and how great your life is, what they'll do is that will deflate their ego. Yeah? And they will think, oh my God, this person isn't just surviving without me anymore. They're thriving without me. They're actually doing better because I'm not in their life. And also, I always thought that they would be chasing after me, but they're not. Maybe I'm not as desirable and as attractive as I thought I was. And it will deflate their ego. So that's another thing that will happen when you stop messaging them and you go into no contact and you're no longer looking for them. It will deflate their ego, especially if in the past you have inflated their ego by chasing after them and making them feel like they're the best thing since sliced bread because breaking up with them was just so awful and how much it crushed you. So you don't want to ever give your ex that power over you. You want to start living a life that makes you feel really good about yourself so that you can actually genuinely thrive without them and move on with your life. Because, you know, in my opinion, an ex is always an ex for a reason. I don't think it's a good idea to get back with an ex. There's only a certain few circumstances where I think it's okay, and that's usually if a third party got involved. So let's say like their best friend was like saying that you cheated on them when you hadn't, or maybe your ex in general had a misunderstanding and thought that you did something when you didn't. If it was just like a misunderstanding or a third party got involved, then that's, and you know that your ex is a genuinely good person and you wish, and you had a good relationship when you're together, but it was all just a misunderstanding, then that's a better reason to get back with an ex. But usually an ex is an ex for a reason. And if something like that did happen, let's say the third party example, if a third party got involved and was like whispering in their ear about how you two should break up and then it happened, what I suggest you do then is if you do actually get back together with your ex, you need to say, look, that person fucked things up for us. We should, you need to not be friends with that person anymore. Like, I'm not trying to control who you're friends with, but that person tried to ruin our relationship. That's not a good person to have around. Obviously, you can keep your other friends. They're great. But maybe we should think about spending less time with that person because they tried to mess things up for us when we really love and care about each other. So it's something that you will need to communicate to with your ex. It's not about being controlling and controlling who they see. It's about that person was bad for our relationship. And if you value our relationship, then you should stop being friends with that person, or at least we should back off from them and not let them sway our opinion of each other. Okay? So if you'd like to get in touch with me personally and you'd like coaching with me and you'd like help with a specific situation, then please go to www.christinelovage.com and pick whichever coaching option works best for you at this current time. And I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.